Now, I will put a little pin in this discussion with respect to cold showers really quick, because there is actually a debate between whether or not you want to heat up before bed or cool down before bed, because science seems to indicate that when we do these things, the opposite effect happens pretty soon after. So if you get into a cold bed, your actual internal body temperature will have a rebound and you'll actually get a little hotter afterwards. And similarly, if you have like a sauna or a hot tub or take a warm shower, something like that, and then you get into bed, even though you're warmer when you get into bed, your internal temperature will drop below to, again, try and reach some sort of equilibrium. So there is some debate as to which one is better, but I've personally found that a cold shower is really, really great. And I'll actually tell you specifically how I do it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Must Become YouTube channel. My name is Spencer, and I believe that what you can become, you must become. That means that if you have any potential within you or anything that you want to accomplish in this life before you go, then you must actualize that potential. It is your obligation to do so. On the way in, guys, if you guys like my channel, please leave me a like. It pushes it up to the algorithm, which allows people to actually see my content if it would be value to them as well. Also, if you like my content, please subscribe to this channel so you can see more and more videos as they come out. I would hate for something great for your life to come out from my channel that you guys don't see because you aren't subscribed. So please drop a like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you guys have any questions about anything I say in this video or any other video. With that said, let's jump right into today's content. Today, we're gonna be talking about sleep. Guys, there's a big debate about saying if you could improve your health, your productivity, just your life in general, there's one of two really big levers that you could pull. Some people talk about diet, and I've made a video about that. Go check that out if you guys are interested. But here today, we're gonna be talking about sleep. Now, this one is really important, especially to me, because I am not a good sleeper. I've been blessed with some genes and I've been really cursed with some others. So some of my good genes is that I don't really get sick that often, but I can never fall asleep. So it's very, very difficult. It takes me about 45 minutes of maybe an hour of dedicated effort to actually fall asleep. And basically, I want to come to you today with some of the tips, some of the tricks, and some of the things that I've learned about sleeping that can help you if you're not a great sleeper. And even if you are, maybe it can improve your sleep a little bit further so you can get more out of your attention when you're awake and you don't feel so drowsy and all that kind of stuff throughout the day, which is the worst feeling when you have a lot of stuff to do. So with that said, guys, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do to help me with my sleep. For starters, let's start with a sleep environment. So your sleep environment is very, very important. You don't just want to go and sleep at any bed, in any time, in any condition. If you have to, okay, whatever, but I'm talking about the ideal optimized sleep environment if you're someone who wants to really make sure that their sleep is the best it can be. So the first thing, guys, that I'm going to get right out of the way is something a little bit obscure that not that many people have heard of. This is called sleep hygiene. So before we actually get into our sleep environment, we need to make sure that we ourselves have a good condition so that we are ready for sleep. So the first thing is actually taking a shower, or some people like to take a bath before they go to bed. I'm not a bath kind of guy. I just think it takes a lot of time. I really don't find them all that relaxing. So I take showers. Guys, I'd recommend that you guys take a quick shower, get in, get out so that you're ready for bed. There's a lot of research out there that indicates that sleep hygiene is a big thing. If you get into bed ready for sleep and you're clean, you're gonna have a way deeper sleep with a lot more deep, like I said, deep sleep on REM sleep than if you get into bed without cleaning yourself first. You've had a long day, you wanna get all that stuff off you, especially if you've worked out. I used to do this all the time when I was in university. I'd work out and go straight into bed, and there's lots of reasons why that's a mistake, but one of them is sleep hygiene. On that note, there's actually a big discussion when we say about showers and baths and stuff like that. Lots of people talk about cold showers and stuff like that. And you know what? There's actually something to that. Having a cold shower before you go to bed, some people say is a really, really beneficial thing. I used to try that. I used to do that quite often, where I would take a really cold, I mean, as cold as the shower goes, I would take a shower for 5 to 10 minutes. Again, I made a video recently about using this bad boy. I would use this guy to time that cold shower. So 5 to 10 minutes, and I would really have it super cold so that my internal body temperature would be brought down. And I would do that when I went into my bed, and I found that I'd fall asleep a little bit quicker. Now, while we're on the topic of cold, there is a lot of, again, research that suggests that you want to have your room at a temperature somewhere between 61 and 64 degrees Fahrenheit when you go to bed, something like that. It's a lot better for us to be in a colder environment where we can pull a blanket on us if we're kind of cold than for us to be in an environment where we're too hot, because that'll definitely disrupt our sleep. And I know from experience, I'm sure you guys do too, that when the room is too hot or the environment is too hot, you just cannot fall asleep properly. You're itchy, you're sweating, you're just gross. Now, I will put a little pin in this discussion with respect to cold showers really quick, because there is actually a debate between whether or not you want to heat up before bed or cool down before bed, because science seems to indicate that when we do these things, the opposite effect happens pretty soon after. So if you get into a cold bed, your actual internal body temperature will have a rebound and you'll actually get a little hotter afterwards. And similarly, if you have like a sauna or a hot tub or take a warm shower, something like that, and then you get into bed, even though you're warmer when you get into bed, your internal temperature will drop below to, again, try and reach some sort of equilibrium. So there is some debate as to which one is better, but I've personally found that a cold shower is really, really great, and I'll actually tell you specifically how I do it. So like I said, I'll use this watch to actually time the cold shower, but I have my cold shower specifically after getting into a sauna. So guys, I'm fortunate enough that I have an infrared sauna in my apartment. I got one in my apartment, it's in my room. I can actually show you guys the infrared sauna. If you guys are interested on a sauna tour and I can show you what it looks like, I can give you all the specs, then please let me know down below. I'd be happy to make that video. But essentially what I do is before I go to bed, especially if I've had a long workout in the morning or something like that, I'll cue a bunch of videos and I'll get them all ready on my YouTube, and I'll watch a bunch of stuff that I want to learn about or stuff to motivate me or whatever it is. I'll have that set up and I'll watch it basically in the sauna. I'll turn my sauna up, and because it's infrared, it doesn't have to get that hot inside the actual box itself. Really, because the way infrared works is it heats you up. So it's not just the air, it's actually you. So that's neither here nor there. But essentially what I found is I get this sweet spot with respect to sleep, because I get the heat up benefits myself where I get warm. Then I get into the shower. And when I get into the shower, it's a freezing cold shower. So I go from this warm environment with the sauna and I get into this cold shower. So I'm warm myself, and I get into the shower and it cools me down. And I find that I sleep really, really well after that. Now, I'm not sure exactly why. It might be a mixture of heating my body up so then it comes back to a lower temperature later, like I mentioned, and then having cold water, which I don't know, meets it in the middle. I really am not sure. But I can tell you that what I found with years and years and struggling is that sauna and then cold shower before bed has really helped me a lot. So now let's move on from cold and let's move to the next kind of big tenet of sleep. The next thing is quiet. So guys, some people like to have a white noise or a fan or something like that going so that it can kind of drown out outside noise. That's great. If you like a completely quiet environment with no sound whatsoever, that's great too. But the whole idea here is you don't want random noises kind of popping up. And obviously this goes with kind of without saying, most people know this, but again, some people don't seem to care. They don't care that much. And there are ways to make it a little bit more quiet. So I kind of hinted at them already. You can get an air purifier that kind of has a little buzz to it. You can get a fan. You can just blast white noise. There are apps that do that, all this different kind of stuff. I personally use a fan because, again, it just keeps my room, and it keeps air circulating in my room that I really like. But again, you just want it quiet because keep in mind that, when you're sleeping, if someone yells your name, a lot of times you're going to wake up, or someone yells something, you're going to wake up, or even maybe says your name, any combination of this stuff. And that obviously shows us that, guys, we are listening when we're asleep. No, we're not actively listening, so we're paying attention, but we are listening. We want to make sure there aren't lots of changes in terms of sound, noise, and all that kind of stuff, which can just wake us up and get us out of our sleep. That, in my case, took me 45 minutes to a fucking hour to get into. So it's really important, guys, that you keep your environment quiet. The next thing is dark. Guys, dark cannot be underrated. When I always do this, where I talk about our ancestral kind of lifestyle and the perspective and how that can inform what we do today. And think about, we would have gotten into our cave where it was black. We would have gotten to a cave where there was no light that was accessing this cave, at least ideally. And we want to replicate that again today. As close as you can get to absolute dark blackness, that's what you want. So for example, I would recommend you get blackout blinds so that you can't see anything. If not, then at least a really high quality eye mask. I'm actually going to make a part 2 to this video where I show you some of the small tools that I use, but I don't use anything that crazy again. But the main thing is that you want it black. Now, darkness actually extends, and kind of light and all that kind of stuff, it actually extends a little bit before your sleep window. So I'm going to get into that in a second. I'm going to talk about the things to do to prepare yourself for sleep. I know I started with sleep hygiene, but I'm going to go a little bit before that, because sleep hygiene is right before you get to bed. I'm talking about the hours leading up to bed, and that's really, really important. So I'm going to talk about that here in a second. So again, you want it to be absolutely black when you sleep, completely pitch black. You don't want any light creeping in, because even little things, it's even been shown in studies that even little lights that are flashing on devices or stuff like that can still impact the way you sleep. Photoreceptors, not just in your eyes, but also in your skin. So if your skin is actually exposed to light at all, there's still a sense that your body is still being exposed to light, which can disrupt your sleep. And if you guys are a light sleeper, this is really the small details that are going to make a big difference. So you want it absolutely pitch black, dark. You want to be able to put your hand in front of your face this close and not even be able to see it. So the final thing here is your pre-sleep window. Look at this almost like a workout. When you work out, there's like a pre-workout window, okay? So what you eat has an impact. When you eat it has an impact. What supplements you take have an impact. So all these things are really, really important. It's the same thing with sleep. So there's really a couple things, but here are the main ones that I want to touch on for you guys, especially if you have problems sleeping. The first one is going to be light. Like I spoke about with dark, it has the flip side of light. What light you're exposed to is very important before bed. So typically you want kind of more halogen lights in your apartment that'll help you with not exposing you to these bright lights that are keeping you super awake. All these fluorescent lights now that we have in apartment buildings and offices and all that stuff. those really disrupt your sleep. So if you can change your bulbs, that's amazing. If you can't, you can wear something like blue blocking glasses. There's some studies out there showing they work. There's some that say they don't, but listen, for me, I take anything I can get. So maybe they do, maybe they don't. But if they do, that's great because I sleep like shit. And if they can give me even 1 or 2% better sleep, I'll take it. So if you can wear blue blocking glasses or even red lens glasses, if you want to get really intense, like some of those biohackers out there, then give it a shot, see if it works. But I would recommend it. And I would do that probably 2 to 3 hours before sleep. So if you're staring at a computer, someone like me who's always on their computer or in the office building where there are fluorescent lights, wear those bad boys 2 or 3 hours before sleep, and it'll help you wind down for sleep. The next thing with respect to your pre-sleep window is working out. Guys, working out spikes a whole bunch of different hormones in your body, and not very many of them are conducive to going into a deep sleep a couple minutes or a couple hours later. So keep your workouts, if you can, to the earlier portion of the day. If you want to divide the day into 8-hour segments, I would do your workout in the first 8-hour segment if you can. Second 8-hour segment is not so great, and then the last 8-hour segment is, well, again, just not ideal. So I would keep a workout. I want you to have your workout finished. And again, you can look at this bad boy. You can look at this watch. Again, if you guys don't know the reference I'm making, please go back and watch my video about watches. It's really important. But basically, you can look at this bad boy to make sure that your workout is finishing. You are done. You've done your last set at least 3 hours before bed, or 2 or 3 hours. I would do 3 if you can before bed, because then again, you can get the right hormones in place so that you can actually be going to bed when you need to. The final thing with your pre-sleep window is going to be your food. So do not eat a large meal before bed, because there is something called the thermic effect of food. That means that it heats you up when you actually eat. Calories, protein being the highest. So you guys out there that are hitting the gym hard, you're counting your protein, you're getting all the protein you need. That's great. It's just not great before sleep. So guys, the high thermic effect of food is going to have the exact effect that you think. It's going to thermically heat your body. You're going to get warmer and warmer, which is going to counteract the whole thing I was talking about wanting your body to be cold before bed. So do not eat 2 to 3 hours before bed. So guys, here's the way your sleep window is going to look, okay? When you hit 3 hours before your desired time to go to bed, before you do that, you're going to finish your last set of your workout. You're going to want to have the last bite of food, and you're going to want to make sure that you're getting your sleep hygiene and your lights taken care of. Those are some of the best pre-sleep window routines, rituals, and stuff that I have. I'll mention that I try and go to bed at the same time every night. Guys, I try to go to bed at the same time every night and get up at a similar time every morning. This allows me to kind of set my circadian rhythm so that the next night's sleep is going to be a little bit more optimal, and my body's kind of getting trained into what I want it to do and sleep when I want it to sleep. The next thing that I'll say also is that I like to wake up to a mixture of light and sound. So guys, I actually get these bulbs. I believe they're Philips Hue bulbs, but there's a whole bunch of other ones you can get on Amazon quite cheap. And there's a little app on your phone that connects to them, and it basically you can select the color. So what I do is I have it go from kind of a yellowish color earlier in the day to a more kind of orange, more kind of pinkish, more kind of red, et cetera, as the day goes on, so that maybe 2-3 hours before bed, my lights in my office, in my room, they're red. So they're basically mimicking kind of like a sunset, something like that. I live in Toronto, Canada, so really like there's one season of the year that we see the sun, but then it can be really kind of snowy and whatever, where, you know, that's kind of what we have most of the year. So I try and mimic a sunset almost every single day. And then in the morning, I have the light wake me up at a certain amount of time. It kind of slowly comes up, kind of like, again, like a sun. Within 10 minutes, it's kind of fully out. And then at the end of that 10 minutes, if I haven't already woken up, is when I set my sound alarm for, so that sound alarm makes sure that I get up and I don't sleep through that. Although I almost never do. That's specifically what I do. And I will also add that on days that I allow myself to sleep a little bit more, which is not often, but on days that I allow myself to do that, there's this idea called sleep debt, which is like, you know, you lost a lot of sleep throughout the week, but you can actually get it back by saving some sleep later. So if you look at the week as a whole, you can average your sleep and still see that you got enough rest. But we're not going to get into that for right now. But basically what I'm saying is, on those days that I'm kind of allowing myself to get more of that sleep debt, so I allow myself to pay back some of that debt where I'm sleeping a little bit more, I'll generally not wake up to sound. I'll allow myself to wake up only to the light. So that means that if it takes 10 minutes for that light to turn on and I haven't woken up by the end of that 10 minutes, and that's fine, I'm just going to wake up whenever I do, because I'm more likely to wake up with that light anyway. And that, in a sense, might be one way where I'm kind of gifted that I'm a light sleeper, where light I'm really, really sensitive to, although I'm sure we all are, because that's just the way we're wired as humans. So I think I've touched on a lot here about sleep. Guys, there will be a part 2 to this video where I kind of introduce some of the small tools that I use specifically for sleep. I already touched on one with the Hue light bulbs. If you guys want to see anything else and ask any other questions about sleep, I'm probably a good guy to ask, because again, I've done a lot of research into the topic, and it's something that's really important for my my physicality, and when I'm working out, it's really important for my work. It's really important for my mood, for my focus, all of this stuff. So guys, if you have any questions, again, I'm a terrible sleeper, and so I've spent a lot of time investing in tools and trying tips and tricks and all these different things that people say online. And so I'd be happy to give you guys any advice if you guys are in a similar boat to me. But look out for the part 2 where I talk about the tools I actually use and introduce them a little bit more. Again, it won't be a super extensive list, but if there's something on the list that helps you, then that's awesome. As always, guys, my name is Spencer. This is the Must Become YouTube channel. I believe that what you can become, you must become. If you liked the content you saw here today, please leave me a like to push it out to the algorithm to help anybody else join our community that might be a valuable asset to us or us to them. And also, please subscribe to my channel if you want to see the next video. Make sure you catch that part 2, because this part 1 will really be influenced positively if you guys see the tools that actually allow me to sleep better and give me a better night's sleep. So with that said, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.